Did you have a chance to meet with your friends?
We did. All done. I'm back. Been for a walk. I've got
Perfect.
some nuts. I'm hungry.
Okay, let's start with that. So last time you gave us a tip about meal prep, and don't follow Martin's journey. He's been on a um, well, health journey really for the past years, starting like with last MKAL.
Yeah.
Do you have any snacks advice for us?
Cashew nuts.
Cashew nuts.
I've got a nut allergy, so I can't eat hazelnuts or peanuts, but I can eat cashew nuts. So a little handful of cashew nuts in small quantities because like too many cashew nuts, they're quite calorific.
Right.
But small amount of cashew nuts.
So there you go, the advice for the day. A handful of
Cashew
cashew nuts.
nut rice cakes with chocolate on them.
I love those.
They're quite good.
Yeah.
And
Now,
you get some chocolate.
now, you, now you're making me hungry.
Sorry.
Well, so let's talk business. Are you done with first clue?
No, however, do you wish to see?
Yeah, and let me just say, like ahead of time, this is kind of like the place where you're gonna see a lot of spoilers. So if you don't wanna see spoilers, just listen along, don't watch the screen because we just can't like all remember saying spoiler alert, and it's gonna be one spoiler alert after another. So feel free to like listen along if you don't want to see the spoilers. Okay, go.
So I am about to start the bubbles. So I've done all my sections and I have just taken it all off scrap yarn. So I might need to go and get the bigger cable. I think I'm on an 80 centimeter cable.
Yeah, I had like a, there's like Stephen for some reason on all his shows always uses size 4. I don't know, it's like it's his go-to size 4 needles. And I bought like 1 year, the longest cable I could find in the store. And so it's like,
yeah, I've got, I think I'm maybe I'm on 100 and I've got 120 as well. And then on GeoGradient, the last time when we were doing the border, I'd attach them both together. So I might need to do the same.
yeah.
But yes, I have made really good progress and I'm about to start the bubbles.
So let's talk about each section. So the first section was those 3 little
Semicircles.
circles. I call them rainbows. I don't know why they like bring rainbows to mind, but like whatever, semicircles. And then the second one is where you attach all those semicircles together with stripes, right? Tell me like what you thought when you started. Like, did you enjoy the entire process? Was one section?
I really loved it. And I thought it's actually quite a repetitive repeat. It's an easy to remember repeat. So I actually, once you've done the first 2 colors, you can do it without looking at the pattern. Then it's really good TV knitting because you know that you're just say SSK on one, or on the other section it's an SSK one side and a slip the other side.
Yeah,
I just covered it in my video that's just gone up at 4. I said 2 very naughty words to my shawl yesterday because when I first attached, when I started doing the first section here, when you're joining the 2 semicircles, it's really fiddly because I think the first section you cast on stitches, then you slip a stitch, and then I managed to drop it, and then I've still got tails. Plus, then when you've done this bit, once you're onto the second color, you've got 2 ends plus the tails, plus you're only working with like 2 stitches. So I managed to get myself all twisted up, and I said 2 very naughty words to it. And it's fine then. Once I'd worked it out for the next section, it was fine. But I did think it was really fiddly. So I did say on my video, Stephen's video is great. It tells you exactly what to do, but just go slow and think about yarn management. Work out where you're putting the yarns give yourself a longer tail. Because at one point I had about this much green. Because I think I had a long tail, and then when I was faffing with it, the tail got shorter and shorter, and the stitch got loose. So it was fine. So I didn't really enjoy that bit, but that was only like a couple of rows. Once you've done it, it's actually really repetitive, and it's very much one more row, because you know you've got to get to 8 main colors. So you're like, oh, I'm on 6. Oh, I could finish this now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm just now on 330 odd stitches. So I think I'm hoping this is going to be good mindless TV knitting this afternoon as well now, because it's just if it's a bubble, it's just knits and pulls,
Right.
and then one dip stitch at the end. So yeah,
Well,
you getting on?
can I say like the unpopular opinion? I hated, like passionately hated the first section. I was so bored out of my mind, and I was like, I can't believe I have to do it 2 more times. So just to entertain myself a little bit, I added the sparkle.
Yeah.
So this sparkle is like super crazy. You can see it, like it has this green sparkle to it, and it's actually lights in the dark. So it's not as like in your face during daytime, but like if you go visit at nighttime out, it sparkles, like even without light, it sparkles.
It
And
looks really lovely.
yeah, so I did two semicircles without the sparkle, and then for the third one I was like, I couldn't do it anymore the same way, so I had to add the sparkle. And as much as I love the sparkle, the effect of the sparkle, to knit with it is an absolute torture, because
Oh,
if you can see, it's like 3 different threads very
oh,
loosely
yeah.
uh, happening together.
So is it splitting?
It's splitting on every single stitch. And not only it's splitting on every single stitch, but when you knit back with it or purl, it's double splits, because the stitch that you're trying to create,
Oh,
but also the previous stitch splits. But it was like, it kept me somewhat more on my toes. And then I was thinking, okay, so now I have this, like, I decided that that's going to be the middle part, right? The middle rainbow.
yeah.
And then I was thinking, well, to tie it all up, I'm going to use the sparkle for the bubble. And
Hmm.
and so yeah, so that's how it's all. Want to see mine?
Yeah. Oh my God. You said you weren't going to be that quick in week 1.
I wasn't.
Oh, I honestly thought this was going to be my week to get ahead of you.
Well, you were ahead of me for like two full days.
I love you and hate you in equal measures.
So I had a so for the top of the bubble, I literally finished it at 12:50, at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time, before I hit the admit all button.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of like, so he talks about mohair there, and the so I guess I didn't watch the first video when he was talking about the the preliminary video. And
Yeah.
so I went with the mohair that would match my main color, right? And I guess like his mohair there was to match the complementary color, the contrast color.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so I'm using my sparkle as that mohair there, but then I'm still thinking that I might use the edit mohair with the other color. So I don't know. It might be like a lot of different dares in there.
And that's the thing, right? You can customize it completely. There's so many options. And I think he says, it would look great with a mohair dare in the contrast color. But I think everyone shawls, when you see how everyone personalizes it, and whether it's sparkle or sequins or boucle or whatever it is,
Right.
I think I love that you use whatever you've got. And some folks will put mohair in with just the contrast, some will put it in with the main color, and I think it looks great.
Well, are you planning to use mohair for the bubbles?
No, because I'm very compliant. So he hasn't said mohair this week, so there'll be no mohair this week.
Here it is. It's right on page 6. In the bottom of page 6, it says mohair there.
Ah, I haven't read that far ahead yet because I'm not as far ahead of you, which I thought I would be. Um, No, I don't know. I hadn't planned on.
But then
So
it's back to the same question,
just in the
right? Like,
dip.
yeah,
Just
so
in the dip, you think?
I guess, Catherine, unmute
Just
yourself.
gonna say, when I read the mohair dare, it says if you want to incorporate some lace weight mohair, get a ball and be ready to incorporate during the next section.
Okay,
Oh,
so we're not
that's
talking
how
about
that's how I
Yeah.
understood it from the video.
Okay, okay.
But
You're just a
that
rebel.
that said, I did put mohair in my middle rainbow to match.
Ah,
There's some fluff in the contrast if you look closely. So I
nice.
couldn't not.
So are you only putting it in the center one, right? Like sort of like I did with the sparkle. So
Yes, so far I just put it in the
about it.
center one in the contrast color, and it matches the contrast color. It just makes everything a little fluffy. Same with you. I was getting a little bit bored after the end of the first one, and I thought, you know what? And we'll see.
Right.
Kitey doing the orange stripe kind of gave me a little bit of inspiration.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually like really enjoyed the second section because it was, first of all, it's different, right? Because like on the corners, it's different from the when you attach in the center between the two things.
Mm-hmm.
And the one corner is different from another corner. So I felt like there was like more going on. And plus it's like it starts so small and so fiddly, and then it grows, and then you're like coming to the end of those extra stitches that you attach it with. So it's like, I don't know. There was like a
I
little.
really enjoyed the middle one, the slipping one end and SSK the other end. I really enjoyed that.
I'm
Yeah.
still in the fiddly section, so I'm looking forward to it getting a little bit bigger. I had to work yesterday.
Right. Sabine, do you want to join us?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hi. I just watched your video, Martin, and the same thing happened to me with the tangling of the balls in the triangle section. And I had the same issue, or not issue, but thing with being bored with the rainbow semicircles. So I'm done with clue one. And I decided to, I'm going to show this, to have the mohair in the middle two, like the ones that attach 3, 2, and 1,
Yeah.
the circles 2 and 1. And then I did put mohair in the bubbles, and I regretted it.
Your
Oh,
pictures
bubble.
was the ones that like I saw, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so behind. They probably everybody finished.
It's like the bubbles I did the contrast color 4 rows, 2 rows with the matching, or with the what is it, mohair, and then I did
Yeah.
2 rows mohair alone.
oh,
And so this gives you like a it starts with the contrast. Well, hang on a sec. It starts with the contrast color, goes basically in a mohair contrast color
Mhm.
mixture, and then it's blue on top, which I really liked for the bubbles.
Yeah.
But mohair and bubbles is a pain.
Oh, because you've got to ladder it.
Yeah, you have to loosen up the one.
Ah,
And I was like,
I think
why
this,
did I do this? This took forever because I had to, at one point I had to cut the fabric, like the little strands a little bit because it was so tangled.
yeah.
Looks nice. Would not recommend.
funny because I had the same exact problem like with the sparkly yarn, because I use the sparkly yarn, but it's not very even. And where there's like these green specks of sparkle, it's actually catches on the other yarn. And so
Yeah.
to untangle it, that row, when you like first do the main color to create the bubbles, that was like such a pain. It took me like an hour to do that one row because
Why
I
did I do this?
yeah.
This looks nice. Such a bad idea.
Right. I think, yeah, I think like if you use the mohair with the main color, it would be easier in this respect. But because it's inside of the bubble, it just gets like all tangled up.
Yeah.
Once I was done, I was happy. And Martin had the thing that you basically take the inner end around your neck, and then everything goes out from there. I totally agree. I don't
Yeah.
see any other way how.
At one point, I did wonder if we were going to like fill it in, but then no, yeah. Now I've seen it all together. I definitely think that's how
It
wearing
may at one point even out the round thingy
Yeah.
this into a straight one, but you were right. We have I-cord on the ends,
Right.
and I don't really. They
And
have
what
a reason, like on the ends of the half ones or whatever, the first and last.
Yeah.
Has, so I guess it's going to be a thing, a big thing.
And I really like this reverse stockinette I said in the video as well, because obviously you've got the main color. So I've got pink and green. And then obviously on the reverse, I've then got a really distinct green and pink.
This actually looks really good with plain colors. If you don't have anything variegated, because if it's variegated, it doesn't really pop as much. But I watched this on the video. I was like, oh, this is the advantage if you have straight colors. Yeah.
So let me ask you, what did you use for the, like, to keep it on the spare needle, or like to put it on the waste yarn? Did you use waste yarn, or did anybody use the barber cords? Because
I have a gazillion of these things with these round ends.
right. So I used the barber cords. Like, I don't know if you guys discovered them for yourself yet, but it's absolute miracle, because then it's so easy to slide all of them back onto the needle. So the way the barber cords work, I don't know if you haven't done it. It's basically a hollow tube. It has a hole inside, and you put it on the tip of the needle, and you slide your stitches onto it, and then you just hold it like it was a waste yarn. And then when you need to put them back on the needle, which in this shawl, you basically like have to put all of those stitches on top from like numerous waste yarns back onto the needle.
I used yarn. I forgot I had those cords in a box somewhere.
I need to find them, because
I have a ton of interchangeable cords, because I have several interchangeable sets.
Yeah.
So I'm just keeping them on the interchangeable cord. And the good thing is that I can still like interchange a tip to the end of that. And so that makes picking up those stitches onto another needle very easy.
This is the system I used as well.
Yeah, I think the barber cord's too fiddly for me. I don't like it. I have tons of it, but I don't use it.
It made it like so easy, like at the end, because it, like before you start the third section, you have to basically, like, there is tons and tons of stitches on the waste yarn, and you have to put all of them together on one needle. And so it makes it like, for this specific project, I would highly
actually did start picking up all the stitches from the parts that I knitted on one long one.
Yeah.
And every triangle I added, I just, once that was done, I shoved the stitches on the second string. And once I was done, I just screwed on the needles and continued.
Right.
Makes sense.
Well, for those, because a lot of people, like I saw somebody didn't even get their yarn yet and still waiting. So that's like a tip for you to consider. Like when you're gonna come to the point when you need to put your stitches on the waste yarn, consider all these tips and like choose what you prefer for your thing. Okay.
Well, I also saw a post on the Facebook group where somebody was making all three semicircles simultaneous on a long needle, and just
at a time.
And I was thinking, well, why didn't I do that? Because then I'm less bored with the next one and the next one.
See, no, I think because when I do little things like that, and maybe because when I do the Toft crochet as well, I'm quite production. So if I'm making multiple, I'll just make all the legs, all the head. So I actually didn't mind. I really enjoyed the semicircles because it was actually quite a quick, hour and a half. It was done. It's like, right, on to the next. So I really enjoyed making them as little bits. I quite liked it.
Well, I was thinking those are the people that make a pair of socks together.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Right. It's like similar to socks at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Jay, do you wanna?
I'm just gonna.
Hi.
I
was loving it until this blimmin' bubble row. And I decided I was going to use beads. Then I spoke. I was talking with Katie this afternoon, and I'm just going to hashtag Katie made me do it. We were actually going to go for like stripes of beads on it, but decided I didn't like to rip that back. I've got a very sticky contrast color.
Yeah.
So again, laddering down is a nightmare. And I've had enough of this row, and I've only done a third of it. So not enjoying it. I've enjoyed it up to this, but I just need to get through this row. And I've got single beads on it now, which I think is right.
Can we
So
see?
you're putting like beads on the center of the bubble?
Just on the slip stitch.
Okay.
That's
I didn't
clever.
think that. That's very clever, actually. I like
As I
that.
say, and I wanted to try and do 3. So it would be like ABA and then do BAB, which is entirely Katie's idea, but it wasn't working. So it's trying to unrip or rip that back when you've already laddered down. Trust me, it felt like Jeopardy.
Yeah, that's tough.
I think when it's done and the next row's in, I'll like it. But right now, I'm just no.
Just no.
No.
Did you enjoy the first section though?
I did. I liked the individual sections. I mean, like Martin, I kind of just enjoyed I've done one, now the next one, now the next one. Quick, thank you very much. Joining them together, I swore several times that I was blaming the yarn for getting tangled around it. But yeah, I just got in an unholy mess a couple of times. But you know, such is life. It's only sticks and string.
Exactly. And I was just like, it was my own fault because I don't think I'd work. I just didn't think about where I was putting. And then all of a sudden, and then there's one video I'd managed to like twist. I'd obviously, instead of twisting back to stop the yarn had all got twisted. Then this had got twisted around the bottom, and then it got caught on a tail. That wasn't even when I swore at it. I swore at it properly, joining those 2 bits in. But then at one point, I'm all tangled and twisted. I'm like, what are you doing?
No, mine just was like, it was all twisted around there. So it was like strangling it.
Yeah, at one point I said, Mark, can you help me, please? And I just held it still, and he's then passing the yarn. So just like yarn separately, keep them away from each other. Don't let them touch.
Yeah, it gets, and actually with the barber cord, it gets wrapped around those ends and those. I've
got barber cords, but I've always find they pop off the end of the needles.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm trying to get the stitches back on, so I just went for the good old waste yarn.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Did the job.
You have to like really push them harder than you think you need to for them to stay. But yeah, sometimes they can pop off. Joy, do you want to unmute yourself?
Sure. Hi again. So this is much as I have done.
I love those, like it's all different colors.
Yes, that's why I wasn't bored. But then again, I did it all over again. I added my sparkle, and then I worked on a sparkly yarn with mohair. I added this one.
Nice.
So it's right here, but then the mohair was hiding the sequins, so I wouldn't do it again. So for my, well, this is my first semicircle because I wanted to do it all over. I wanted to add the sparkle all over my work.
Are you gonna do it for 3
plenty.
semicircles?
Well, yes, all 3 will have the sparkle and the mohair. Kaiti inspired me, so he made me do it even if he didn't know it.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I wouldn't be using barber cords. I have enough 3.5 needles.
Oh, wow.
So I can I figured I will be having several whips anyway, so might as well use those. I was getting ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
It makes sense. Catherine, do you want to unmute yourself?
Thank you.
Yeah, I was also one of the people that found the semicircles frustrating. The first one I was fine, I was quite enjoying it, but there was something about repeating it 3 times. It drove me a little bit crazy. So now I've finished. I'm just on this first attachment here. For the semicircles, I tried the barber cords, but I found my stitches stuck to them as I was trying to lift them on. So then I was having to lift each one onto the barber cord. I think my stitches were just too small. So I'm using this, which is a similar thing to a barber cord, but it's an old one. It's made by Clover, and it has a needle on the end. And so you could thread the needle through it. And then, like Martin, when I started this, the tangling yarns drove me crazy. So I've done the same thing. I have one on my left and one on my right, and I'm lifting them over. But it was made more complicated for me by the fact that on the back, I didn't like pulling up. On the first one, you can see I have this long strand of the orange, you know, where you pull up to the next row. And to me, it was the strand was too long. So what I've ended up doing is every time I change color, I lift the other color over so that it twists, so that I don't have such a long strand on the back, which again is taking even more time to manage the yarns. But this so far, this section, despite the yarn tangling, I'm enjoying this more than the semicircles.
It sounded like I was concerned about that strand being too long, but somehow it's hidden, like you can't really see it on the back.
And I really
I wasn't sure until you finish it. You don't really know. So I thought, oh, I better twist it because I didn't want to end up being annoyed by it.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You can see, I do like the reverse of an SSK. I think it looks really pretty the way it twists over.
Like pretty neat.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to finishing the bubbles and then sewing in my ends. I'm learning from this.
I think I'm gonna
not wait until the end. Those ends are getting sewn in.
I was thinking the same thing, that before the second clue is gonna come out, I'm gonna have all the ends on the first clue neatly tucked in, because otherwise it's gonna be a lot of loose ends towards the end.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if people, like last time, people were complaining about cutting yarn, and a lot of people hate cutting yarn. Any of you were you bothered by that? The fact that like
I normally wouldn't have been, but because of the redo last year, that's my first MKAL last year, and because of that redo, then I was left with all those small scraps. That was the only reason it bothered me. It doesn't bother me if I'm proceeding ahead with the song.
Yeah,
right.
And I use the ones from last year. I used that on Mark's one. They became the fringe to start with, and then I didn't have to use. So I've still got quite a lot of yarn left from the main yarn. I tried to use as much of the ends from clue 1 from last year to start with the fringe in, because the fringe isn't too long on Mark's shawl. It was just perfect.
Right. Oh, and we forgot to congratulate you. You got to 10,000. Thank you to all of you guys who subscribed.
Yeah, thank you.
It's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it's exactly like after the party, like as we were hoping. So
yes, just before we went out for the drink last night. So it was a nice little celebration. Yeah, it was good.
Perfect. Does anyone else want to share your progress with us? Marietta? Do I pronounce it right? Can you unmute yourself? Hold on.
Just a moment. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Okay.
How do you pronounce your name?
Marjatta.
Oh, I did it right.
Yes, you did. From Helsinki, Finland.
Oh, nice. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. This is my first time participating in this kind of Zoom live event.
Lovely. You're very welcome.
Did you start working on the MKAL already?
Sorry, what did you say?
Did you start working on this MKAL already?
Definitely, yes. I have only, everybody probably is further than me, but I have done my 3 semicircles. Today I finished them.
Yep.
Love those.
Love that color.
And now I'm going to continue. And it was nice tips that you said about the bubbles, because I was considering using mohair, but now I'm giving up that idea. I will think something else. I would like to have some other sort of not so loud contrast, something. I was considering mohair, but I don't know, gray, sort of light gray.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
maybe using it double, and but not for the bubbles.
I mean, the bubbles is just like the only reason is because you have to lather down 8 rows. And so if it's getting stuck there, then it's like becoming more difficult and more time consuming.
yeah.
So like
But
if
this
you
is why I
find
like
main color, yeah.
But this is why I like this type of a Zoom, just because this is like the virtual knitting community, right? So we've got our little virtual knitting group, and someone go, "Oh no, you don't want to do that. Do it like that." I love that little tips for folks that get ahead of others to share. It's really good to be able to do it like this.
Yeah, I think that was very useful information that I got.
Yeah,
Because
and
I
not
was
to, not to
really,
discourage you, but just to like mentally prepare you that like if you did
yeah, if
with
I
the
decide that,
mohair,
yeah, now I can
Yeah,
prepare
exactly. It's like
myself.
your shawl, as Katie says, you do you, boo, and
Right.
you make sure you're happy. But yeah, then you just know that it's not going to be fun if you do put the mohair in for that dip stitch.
it's gonna
Yeah.
take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Have you done Stephen West patterns before, or is it your first Stephen West?
This is my 4th one. And always I have had a lot of problems with or difficulty choosing colors and to choose the right yarn. And my first one was this, what was it? Shawlography. And it was just perfect, but I chose too scratchy yarn. So I gave it away when it was finished too. That's sad because I liked it. And then I did twist and turns, was it?
Yeah.
And again, I had trouble choosing yarns, and I had the different weights, and it was just complete. I haven't used it at all. And that's really difficult to me. And then last year, I made this. This is what I'm been wearing, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. But now I'm looking forward very much. I hope I am better at choosing the yarn this time.
Those are beautiful colors.
I really like the color. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
And a little tip for those of you who knit with yarn and then find it scratchy, before you give it away, try soaking it in hair conditioning, because apparently yarn has similar structure to hair, and it also calms it down and makes it softer. So just try. Like I had once knitted a scarf with Peruvian yarn, which was not horribly scratchy to knit with, but like when you finish knitting it, somehow it was impossible to wear. And I soaked it for like 20 minutes in hair conditioning, and it became significantly softer. So just a little tip for the future.
Thank you. Yeah.
Catherine, please unmute yourself.
Yes, sorry, I was I'm finding this first bit very, very fiddly. Instead of scrap yarn or those cords, which I have, I am using at this point my stash of 3.25 millimeter needles, because I happen to have like 5 of them. And it's the one I'm using right now for the little fiddly bit is the longest one. So it is like 120 centimeters or something like that. And so of course the yarns are getting all twisted as I'm going back and forth. So I am looking forward to getting to a longer row so that it's not quite as fiddly. And to me, I was actually going to use the mohair in the bubbles, and now I am not, because I'm not a glutton for punishment, and this coming, well, I sort of am, okay, I sort of am, but I'm trying to minimize, if I know in advance that it's going to be a mess at this point with what I've got on my plate this week at work. I think it's going to be just easier to stick with the original plan and do some mohair. I do have a contrasting purple mohair that I will probably put into play holding double on its own for one of the stripes in the second clue where he talks about maybe doing a mohair dare. I just didn't think I love my variegated, this variegated electric fusion.
I love that color so much.
Yeah, it's going back and forth between the turquoise and the purple,
Yeah.
and it's not showing up on the screen as well, but I am so, well, you can sort of see the purple stripes
Yeah.
coming in there. But I'm in love with my yarn. So that if I ever get, you know, frustrated or bored, I just, you know, pull it all out and look at it, and yeah, and then I'm good to go again. So
Well, that's
thanks for doing this. I don't have anybody that knits. So, you know, I'm showing these little semicircles to a friend after work yesterday, and she's like, yeah, that looks
That's great.
Yeah. So I was so glad to be here. So like, because people here actually understand and can appreciate what we're doing. So thanks.
Yeah.
And thanks to Kaidi for the imagination, and thanks to everybody that tried some stuff and found some problems ahead of me, so that I can be forewarned.
I don't want to call it a problem, because like if you don't mind spending extra half an hour on pulling those strands apart, like I actually like the way it looks, because it's like it does add something to it, but just like be forewarned that it might be an issue, right? Like if it's a super sticky yarn.
Yeah.
I'm actually like another thing, like if you guys want to see your yarn, like I love doing that. Like if you follow me on Instagram, you probably see me all the time with my spray bottle. So this spray bottle trick is like you take your blocking mat, you put your piece of knitting, it's unfinished piece of knitting, on the blocking mat, and you spray it with just water, and you stretch it, and you sort of block it. So it gives you the idea of how those yarns work together. It gives you an idea of how much the yarn is going to bloom. So it's sort of like lazy person blocking, which is like right here. I don't love swatching, but I love doing these blocking things, because it's just like let you stop and like just see it in full glory, and it gives you the idea of how it's gonna look like when you're done. So if you bored and you want to see something beautiful, do that. It's like it lets you admire the yarn better. I wanted to ask about prediction for where we're going from here. Do we think it's gonna be much wider and it's gonna go straighter, or do we think it's just gonna be a border on top, and then we're gonna pick up stitches and do something, fill in the inside to make it a huge semicircle? Martin, what do you think?
I think so. We've gone in like this shape. I've started knitting, so I can't really show, but I think if it comes over your shoulders this way,
yeah,
I don't think we're just going to go out like this now. I think if you think about the semicircle shape, so we started with the little semicircles, then we added to them and it bloomed. I wonder if now we're going to take this kind of semicircle shape and then we're going to just work on this side and then maybe this side. So maybe the semicircle will come back. I don't know how we do it, but obviously I'm not in Stephen's head. But if you imagine you've got the bubbles now sitting here, I can see that you would just work with, say, 150 stitches, and then you come back. I don't know. I wonder if there's a shape that's come in. So rather than it continuing on the 300 stitches, I wonder if we're going to work on half a side, then half a side. Then the next week, we're going to then do something in the middle. Then we'll have a big border on the end, maybe.
I didn't
That's
think
my
about
prediction.
it that way. Yeah. Sabine, what do you think? Unmute yourself.
Okay. I think this is a very good prediction. I haven't thought about this, like doing like we did last year with the wing tips thing, but I still think because it's kind of like half a circle right now with the semicircles in the middle and the triangles in the outer space. I do expect him to do something in the huge semicircle that, can I explain this? No, I can't. Like if you put it on, if you lay it out flat, it basically goes like this, right?
Yeah.
And I expect something to happen here to make this thing even, like his
And
shoulder.
that's what I think, but I wonder, because we've still got week 2, 3, and 4, I wonder if you imagine the space that you're describing, you'd almost work a third of the space, a third of the space.
Put on the out, right?
And then, yes, I either going out, so it does that, or you just work on a third and you come in over yourself, and then a third, and then you've got a gap in the middle that you then, I have no idea, right? But I feel like something like that would be, rather than just we continue.
The gap in the middle is always the place where I expect the brioche.
I think brioche week 3. So I wonder if this week now we're going to get some more shaping on half a side.
Yeah.
And then we fill the gap and then we do a final border.
Something like that. Yeah. I agree.
Something like that. What I know is we're probably all wrong. I feel like I'm voguing. Yeah. I feel like we're going to be doing.
I actually think you might be right in the sense that it's not going to be like just working the 300 whatever 50 stitches on top, continuing that. Like I think because he broke it already in so many parts, that it's going to continue as a theme.
And that's what I think, because if you think shawlography and slip extravaganza, we started from a couple of stitches and then every week it just got bigger and bigger. But because we didn't start that way, we started in this kind of modular way.
Right.
I think, like Emma's just said now, the shawl pin may be a clue. So I do think we're going to end up with a semicircle shawl again, like slip extravaganza and shawlography. But whereas they started and then every week we just built, we're already on 350 stitches. That's why I feel like, are we going to then just work 2 sections next week? Then there'll be a third section and then you get the final shape. I wonder if that's where we're going, because we started modular. So are we going to do modular again? But ultimately it will end up as a big semicircle.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Or he might prove us all
Well,
wrong.
exactly right. It's like, you look at every shawl, you have no idea where these shawls are going or how he's creating those shapes. And you just think, I don't know how it's going to end up, but yeah.
I was thinking that like the whole time. I was thinking like, did he sketch it first? Like, how did he come up with that shape? Like, was
some sketches on Ravelry? He like the first section, the semicircles and how they work together. There's a post by Stephen on the Ravelry group with the photos where he sketches this out.
Ah,
yeah, it's, let's just say it's on page 29 or something, around the mid to late 20s.
I'm gonna go look.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can find it and I'll stick it in the group.
Do you guys all participate in Ravelry group as well? Just curious. Or like, besides these Zooms, do you find other communities that you participate with this MKAL as well? Like whether there's like, I know there's a bunch of groups on Facebook, there are like some other YouTubers that doing things. Do you participate in more than one thing? Because I find like I wanted to do Ravelry group, but then it's just becoming overwhelming. Like I'm in a couple groups on Facebook that like I see posts, and then the Ravelry as well.
I mostly do Facebook. I mean, I sometimes go to Instagram, and I did try to go through the thread on the Ravelry, but it's already so enormous. It's like I could spend half a day just trying to read that thread. So
that's my, yeah, I start off every week. I start with good intentions of reading each week. And then it gets to like page 10. Then all of a sudden you refresh it, half an hour later, it's on page 18. I'm like, I can't. And I feel like I want to read it all to keep up with the conversation. So I dip in and out of it. I do sometimes, I'll try and post my progress picture and I'll stick it on my Ravelry. I don't use Ravelry very often, but for this, I try and post my progress, but I don't tend to read all the pages because you'll be there forever.
Right. I haven't even started the project page yet. I'm so bad about Ravelry. I'm usually like, the way I use Ravelry is like, it's either I'm buying pattern there, or I would post the project like after I'm done with the project, but like I'm horrible about just doing progress things on Ravelry. So it's a challenge for me somehow.
For those that do use Ravelry, I've just posted the photo. I think he drew a picture that Nancy referenced showing how to pick the stitches up. So there's his doodle. So I just found that on Ravelry, and so I've just posted that in.
I
But yeah,
was still
already
picking, like
that
up until about 4 o'clock on Thursday, I was still trying to decide what colors to use.
Well, I know that
'Cause
a
I
lot
had-
of people were saying that they're gonna wait until the clue pops out and then decide. And I
Well,
want it to be one
I
of
have an obsession with Dream in Color fiber, which is wool and cashmere. So every time I go up to my local yarn shop, which is up in Pennsylvania, I just like, I pick out a couple more skeins, and then I'm not keeping track of what I already have in stash at home. It's just, oh, I like that color, let me buy that. So I went through like all of my Dream in Color and sat there and went, oh my God, I have enough Dream in Color now to make at least 4 sweaters, long sleeve, size 2X. That's a lot of fiber. So of course I'm not buying more fiber. I had to no kits. You can't look at that page. No Stephen and Penelope kit this year. And then I finally discovered that I did have 2 skeins of 2 contrasts that worked out just gorgeous. I swear, I'm absolutely totally in love. I don't even know if I can justify it in this venue, but I love my color. It's called Wineberry, and it's kind of a burgundy with pops of purple and bright pink and red, and then the other one's called Peachy Keen. So it's kind of peachy with like little speckles of orange in it, and they work just so beautifully together. So I'm very, very pleased with my yarn, but I still now have to stash type and remember where I hid all my mohair.
Are you thinking of adding beads or sparkles?
I like that idea. Who was it that did the beads? Is it you, Catherine?
No, it was
Jay.
Jay, yeah.
I'm wondering about the size. What size beads are you using for that?
Sorry, they're size 8.
Size 8?
Yeah.
8.
You
Okay.
probably get away. Are they 8? No, sorry, they're 6. They're 6. You could probably get away with 8, but I went for 6 because it was easier.
Well, see, I've never done mohair. I've never done bubbles. I've never added beads. I'm wondering about the beads. Do you have to string them on the fiber before you knit with it?
No, you just use a crochet hook and
Oh, okay. A small crochet hook that you can pull the yarn through.
when you do that stitch, you just take a crochet hook and you put the bead on top of the stitch, like in the, and then you knit with that stitch. So it's
I'm thinking about that. I like that idea with the beads. It's really kind of cool.
I actually
Although
like
it's
that idea
fiddly.
so much. I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna undo the couple rows and add the beads now.
You were rushing. You wanted to beat Martin.
She was.
She was.
Now I'm regretting that I don't have beads there.
Challenge laid down.
Mia, I absolutely love the shawl you're wearing. The colors are just gorgeous. They're my favorite colors. I'm just so excited that there's so many. How many people from how many countries? Like thousands of people all over the world, and we're all working on the same project at the same time. I mean, the amalgamation of creative energy universally is mind-boggling. Oh man, that's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. Mia, do you want to unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful shawl.
Yeah, that's a calligraphy from a few years ago. It was my first MKAL, and yeah, in this year I'm knitting my third. Is it the third? No, it's the fourth MKAL I'm knitting, and I'm using this beautiful
that's a nice look.
color and this beautiful color with
Lovely.
speckles.
Lovely.
So you can see it. And the one is from Pink Rock Unicorn, and this is Lana Colors, a German dyer. And hopefully I will use this mohair maybe in the second week. And it works perfectly with this one.
Very nice.
And yeah, I was a bit confused with the zoom thing in the first, cause it's the first time I'm doing it, and I hope at the start I don't kill the audio from your, cause I have problems with my microphone in the first
No worries.
few minutes.
We can see and hear you perfectly. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, now it's okay, I hope. But first, I had my computer microphone, and I think it was too loud or something like this.
No, don't worry.
And yeah, and one thing I want to say, I'm so sorry, Martin, to say it, but I hope so much for brioche, because I love it in the showlography. It's where is it? Here.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. And it was the first time I knit brioche in this shawl, and I love it. After this, I bought the flying fox shawl pattern or so. I haven't knit it yet, but I hope sometimes the time for a big shawl is not every.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna say I love brioche. I love the feel of it. I love.
You love brioche? I thought you hate brioche.
No. Now, so I love it to look at.
Yeah.
And to squish, and I can knit it. I did it in shawlography that you're wearing. I did it in Starflake. I've made a brioche hat.
Yeah.
I just
maybe it's easier in continental knitting, and because you're doing the UK knitting stuff,
that's what
which
I
can't understand how to knit like this.
It's a lot of extra movements in English style.
Yeah, I think it's so complicated, but of course, when you learn it first like this, then it's your style of knitting.
And I think it's just because if I make a mistake, which I invariably do because I don't concentrate.
Mistakes in brioche are
exactly
killing.
and that's where I don't like. So I love it. Don't get me wrong, it's a great technique. And when I did it on the socks, it was fine. It's really rhythmical. I really like it. I just worry that if I make a mistake, I'm not that confident in fixing it. So I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the process of knitting it. Once I'm done, I'm like, phew, look at that. Look
I mean, there are videos how to fix a mistake, but it's very confusing.
Yes,
you're right. But I hope so much.
I don't know. I would quite like this. I'm happy if there is some, because we have had a few years without some.
But usually Stephen doesn't use like too complicated of brioche, right? It's usually like pretty straightforward brioche.
Yeah, and like the shawlography version, it was just a straight panel. I'm really happy with that because it's the same. It was Starflake when we were doing those double stitch, the sharks eating the little fish, and there's something at.
I love this how he described with the fish and the shark. It was so cute, and always the best thing in the MKAL is the community aspect I love, and the videos are so important. I think without the videos, I don't have fun in the MKAL. And and I want to show the things I made currently the last days. I have two of the half circles, one and second one. I'm not very fast in knitting, but I hope this time I'm maybe with the community and Zoom meetings and something like this, I'm a bit faster than the last years, because my geogradient and my twist and turns are on my needles and are whips like the one for 1 year, the second for 2 years. But someday I will finish them.
No, and that's totally fine. Like, I want you guys to keep in mind that like embrace your pace is a real thing. And the point of these Zooms is that maybe you're gonna get some clue that's gonna save you a mistake. Maybe you're gonna learn some interesting bit of information. Maybe you're gonna get
That's my third
inspired
one.
by someone. You know, so it's like, it's not about who's gonna finish the quickest. It's about doing it together, learning from each other, getting inspired by each other, getting some new ideas, learning some new tips. And talking about tips, Jay said that she does a lot of brioche, but she always puts lifelines in. So that's one of the clever things. If you just insert a lifeline in your brioche, you can't make that many mistakes, right? Like it's easier to fix it and come back to the
exactly.
started.
And I think I ended up doing that with, because Starflakes, again, right, as a new knitter, I didn't really know. I had no fear. I was just, I'm going to follow that pattern. And I didn't really know what brioche was. I then quickly realized it was taking me like 2 hours to do one pass on it. And I had to have the telly off. But I made a mistake and I ripped it back. And then I put a lifeline in and it was okay. And it's still a little bit, there's a little hole there and there's a wrap around the front instead of around the back. But it's fine because it's my first brioche and I did it. But yeah, definitely lifelines. I didn't put lifelines in on shawlography because it was just a straight line. But I think if it's brioche and there's increases and decreases, I will absolutely put a lifeline in because yeah, the second time I did Starflake, after I'd ripped the first lot of brioche, but I did put a lifeline in because it was just, I think I would have cried if I got to the end. And I still made a few little mistakes, but I didn't rip it back. I just kind of went with it.
We call them beauty marks.
Beauty marks. Exactly. Design feature.
Yes, but in brioche, every mistake is so visible. So it is not. I don't like to have mistakes in the brioche. I had them in. I had one mistake a few rows below when I knit the shawlography, and I don't know how long it takes. I think 2 hours, 3 hours or so, but I managed to redo the mistake a few rows below. Not I don't knit back. I do it with looking videos and use a crochet needle and stuff like this. But it needs very much time. But the outcome is worth it.
Right.
From brioche.
That's what I did with the socks that I ended up, because I made a mistake on it and I thought, no, Stephen's got a video. So I watched the video, laddering it down, pick the crochet hook up, how to do it. And I did it on the socks. So again, if I make a mistake, I probably could do it. I don't think if I made a mistake with the shaping and the yarn, I don't think I could do the decreases. I'm not sure.
The fun thing is in his videos, it looks like it's totally easy. So you have a mistake in the brioche a few rows below your knitting. So it needs a minute. But no,
and
don't
he says
need a minute.
Say yes, don't stress. It'll be fine.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Like...
And I think when I finished the shawlography, it was my first MKAL. I was so proud of it because there are so many knit patterns and knit varieties of knitting I have never do before, and I have never thought I could do. But with the videos, it was okay, and I think that is one thing in the MKALs. You're so proud when you finished it, or not finished the whole shawl, of course, but when you finish just a piece of it.
Right.
And sometimes you are happy when you finish a clue, because it was so annoying sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
I know in this one, the little I-cord shrimps I think he called them. I hate it. I hate it so much. But it looks good. It looks great, and I hope I have never ever need to do it again.
Yeah, let's hope there's no shrimps this year because not many people love those.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you too.
Thank you for being here.
So the next meeting we're gonna have is on next Wednesday. It's at 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK time. I'm not sure if you're gonna be on time to come from work, but like if you can.
I am hoping to join. I'm hoping to leave work at 4. I'm in the office.
So
I should be done.
I hope you guys can join and we can talk about the progress you made. If you haven't finished Clue 1 by then, it's totally fine. Don't worry about it. You can still get some ideas and some inspirations and just chat with us. It's more about having fun as a community.
And I've worked out I'm going to be firmly team Embrace Your Pace from next week onwards, because Clue arrives on Thursday. I've got a band rehearsal Thursday night. Then I'm in work Friday. Saturday, we're in London for the knitting and stitching show. Then we're going out for drinks with friends who's 4 hours away. So I then got 4 hours. Then I've got trip back on Sunday. So I'll have about 4 hours of knitting on Sunday. And I think in reality, that's going to be when I start the Clue.
Right.
So there's no way I'm going to catch up. And I like first
you want to feel better about it, because on the 16th, I'm going to Rhinebeck until 19th. I'm coming back on the 19th. 20th is my laundry day. 21st, I'm going with my husband to visit my daughter in North Carolina for 3 days. I'm going to do Zoom from North Carolina. I already told everybody I need an hour of quiet time on Monday at 12 to 1. And then we're flying on my birthday. We're flying to Miami. It's on the 25th from North Carolina to Miami to spend my birthday with my parents. So we're going to be there for the weekend. So the next 2 Zooms, because it's Zoom on for regular time and Australian time, I'm doing from Miami, and then
nice
back home. So you're gonna.
You're so international.
It's gonna be very even out, like back then, you know.
And that's it. I like to try and get the first week done, because then I know because I won't have time off work, and it's fine. I like people know from the last few years, I'm absolutely team Embrace Your Pace. I think apart from, I still don't know how I managed to do it, but Slip Stravaganza especially, I managed to finish the week after the Clue came out. All the other shawls have been at least December, if not January. Right. So
and
I'm team Embrace Your Pace.
There is nothing wrong with that, so please don't rush.
No, exactly. And it's all about enjoying, right? And I think I said earlier, I love these calls because we get to share tips with each other. It's like our little worldwide knitting group. And we'll all still be here plugging away at them, and maybe we can do another Zoom maybe in November time.
Yeah,
we'll check in a month. We'll check in a month later and see how folks are getting on, because I probably want to finish. I want to try and get it done by December, because Advent's come in, and then I can have a clean run into December. That would be Mark has set me my challenge to try and get it done before the Wicked movie comes out. So 20th of November needs to be my deadline, I think. So I've got a bit of time to block it. Although if it's finished and I haven't sewn the ends in or blocked it, I'm still going to wear it.
Well, I want to just do one little final mini announcement. So I'm actually in January. If you guys already thinking about what you're going to do in January, I'm going to do a knit along with the Knitting Guild Association. And you don't have to be a member of the Knitting Guild to participate in that knit along, but it's going to be a cardigan that basically like you do your own version of the cardigan. It's different lengths, different sleeve lengths, different stitches that you can use. So I did the interview on my channel with people from the Knitting Guild. It's called What Do You Know About TKJA? So check out that video and see if you might want to join us. So that's going to be in January, so we can wear this shawl at the next knit along.
That'll be amazing.
Oh, Joy is going to be at Rhinebeck. So I'm going to be at Rhinebeck Saturday. I'll be there from Friday, but like Saturday, 12 p.m., I'm going to be on the Meetup Hill. So if you're there, please stop by and say hello. I would love to see you guys. And meanwhile, we'll see you all next Wednesday.
Yep.
12 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
See you soon, folks. Bye.
Bye.